So for me, that was brain-computer interfaces and that intersection with AI because I've been watching some, like Terminator and stuff.
Hello, and welcome back to the Voice for You podcast, where we empower the leaders of today and tomorrow. I'm your host, Jeshwant Vana. Today, I'm joined by a young leader in our community. He is one of many passions, taking multiple interests in education, technology, and equity. But not only does he take interest in those, but he turns those into something impactful for his community. He is the co-founder of Blastoff, an AI startup which offers resources for underrepresented entrepreneurs. And it also has raised 30,000, that is 4 zeros by the way, dollars in funds. He's also a MITES alumni, with his time in the institution used for analyzing educational disparities across the nation. Within his community, he has also done extensive research on education and housing affordability, whilst conducting multiple free STEM workshops in his community. His work has definitely not gone unnoticed, as he was named a 2025 Coca-Cola Scholar, Star Student, and Amazon Future Engineer Scholar. Building his community through many means, he is Mr. Andrew Lin. How are you doing today, Andrew?
Doing great. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure for you to be on here. I'll be honest, first off, thank you so much for hopping on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Y'all are super accomplished. You are an individual that's super accomplished, and not just in like one field, like multiple different fields, which is crazy. And at what they call an all-rounder, so thank you so much for hopping on the podcast. It means a lot. But yeah, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I just came back from a workout and had a good lunch and now I'm here.
It's valid. What?
How about you, man?
Oh, I've been doing good. I slept until woke up at 10 and started just editing podcasts. I also have FBLA
Great.
going along too. We have nationals June 28th. So we have that I have that lined up and stuff too. But it's currently cloudy outside. I think it was raining 30 minutes ago. The thing about rain, it's nice when it stops raining, I'll be honest. Cause it's
I like the smell after,
Yes, the dew smell.
Some people it's there's a certain word for it. I forgot what the word is.
Moist.
Moist. Maybe, but it was a longer word. I don't know exactly what the word is.
Probably scientific. Some scientific long word. It's got words for everything, man. I'll be so honest.
They do.
Yeah. But before we get into the interview, let me know about you. What are your hobbies, passions, and just who you are as a person?
Yeah, of course. So I'm Andrew. I go to school in Swanee, Georgia, and some of my hobbies include anything physical. So I'm a big sports guy. I swim, I play pickleball with my friends, I play basketball with my friends, and I work out. In terms of my passions, I really enjoy learning more about computer science and economics. And my ultimate goal is to open my own VC firm that empowers underrepresented founders, which I feel like they don't have much of a voice in today's world.
Definitely. Do you watch NBA, the NBA?
Dude, Lakers in 5.
What are your thoughts on are you, since you are from Georgia, are you a Hawks fan or? Nah. LeBron?
LeBron all the way. LeBron and Luka.
That's fair. What were your thoughts on that trade when it happened, though? The craziest.
Bro, that was a dirty trade. I can't lie.
Was
no
dirty.
news, no nothing.
The thing is,
that was dirty.
They won again because they got Cooper Flag, the first pick in the draft, which is.
It's interesting.
I'm a big Duke guy, so
thinking.
Yeah, I'm a big Duke guy, so I don't know how I feel about that. I'll be so honest.
Only time will tell.
Yeah, hopefully it goes well. But I'm a Bucks and Grizzlies fan because I am from Memphis, and I've always been a big Giannis guy. So, yeah, both my teams got knocked out in the first round, which hurt. But it's whatever. Who do you got winning the chip this year?
I have no clue, dog. I'm just in it for the ride.
That's fair. I'm on the same boat too. My brother's a Thunders fan, so yes. So his team is definitely pushing it this year. Shea won MVP too, so pushing that stuff too. But yeah, obviously you are an athletic guy with swimming and all that too. That's something that many people. I need to start hitting the gym. I'll be so honest, because it is good to stay healthy, especially in this day and age. Because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we're all aging.
Definitely.
Yeah, we're all aging, so might as well hit the gym every now and then.
Yeah, I feel like for me personally, it's just like a way to like de-stress because a lot
Definitely.
of the stuff we do now, like with school and even in jobs, like modern day jobs, it's just a lot of mental, right? We don't be using our
Yeah,
bodies, and it's just like you need to use your body. Like you have a healthy body, you have a healthy mind, you have a healthy mind, you have a healthy body.
exactly. What did you hit today?
I hit full body.
Full body? Because I've heard that's not like most of my friends say that's not good to hit full body. Did you like go full on for full body or?
Yes, no, so what I do is like since I don't have much time, right? I work out 3 days a week and I just feel like full body is just like
Gets everything
it's
done. Yeah,
good. It just feels good.
exactly.
And it doesn't put too much strain on my body. Like I don't wake up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sore. I can't move. It's like it's the right amount of soreness for my body.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Especially because 3 times a week. I know my friends, they went like 4 or 5 times a week, so that's definitely different from.
Right, like if I could do that, I would probably hop on for like upper lower or push pull legs.
Exactly. My friends, what they do push, pull, legs, rest, and then they go, then just repeat that cycle over and over again. Personally, this might be like a messed up thing to say, but my favorite day is legs. Like I say that to my friends, and like you're not doing it right. That's why. Like I like don't get me wrong. When I did do legs, it hurt so much afterwards. But as a big basketball guy, I've always been into plyometrics, so legs definitely helps with that. Yeah, that it
No,
helps a
for
lot with
sure.
that.
Like legs are the base, so like
Yeah,
um,
exactly. I feel
yeah,
like I
good
have
legs.
I have good leg genetics too. Like just in general.
Yeah,
Yeah, like even if I don't work out, my legs look like hella toned. Yeah, just
it's good
genetics.
on you, bro.
Yeah,
Gotta play to your strength.
yeah, you got it. Obviously, my arms, they're not like the biggest, but my legs, I could definitely say they're definitely size. But obviously, as an active guy, this question is probably the wrong question to ask. But before every interview, I start with a laid back, before the hard hitting question, just a laid back question. So, if you could have one fast food restaurant define who you are, what would it be and why?
Definitely Chipotle because that's my favorite fast food restaurant. But then also you just gotta think about it like fundamentally, right?
Yeah,
They give you so many options, but it's like in the end it's still yours and like everyone's bowl might not be the same, right? Like you go down, you get white rice or brown rice, right? I'm a white rice kind of guy, right? And then you got this option like what 5 or 6 more times. It's just like it's so
exactly.
customizable and it's everything. It's just like it's great.
What's your go-to? Do you get the same thing every single time, or are you a guy that switches up?
I get the same thing every time. I'm not gonna lie.
What's the order?
All right, we go extra white rice. We get black beans. We get double chicken. We get fajitas. We get hold on. We get pico. We get extra corn because corn is so good.
Yeah,
And we
definitely.
get cheese. We get guac, and we get lettuce. And then wait, hold on. We get the sour cream on the side, and you get the vinaigrette, and
Okay.
it's just magic.
Yeah, you have a loaded. That sounds good. That sounds really good. Have you tried the honey chicken?
I have not.
Do they have it in your area, or have you just not gotten the time?
I don't think so. My Chipotle's a little run down sometimes.
Dude, you're missing out, dude. It tastes like heaven.
It's actually good.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. My friend,
Yeah, I might have to drive a little further.
yeah, definitely no. Because one of my friends, she was like, I need to try the honey chicken. I didn't know until she told me. She said it tastes like heaven.
Mhm.
I try it. I finished that thing in like 5 or 10 minutes just because of how good it was. It was,
Okay. I'm gonna put that on the list.
yeah, definitely. Double chicken, make that double honey chicken. I've always had a sweet tooth as well, so that also might play into a little bit.
Yeah, I could definitely appreciate some like sweet and salty action
Definitely,
in my food.
definitely. I'm not just a guy that goes straight salty or straight. I know I'm Indian, but I always like having a little bit of sweet. Spicy is cool, but sweet tooth always hits the best for me, definitely.
I agree.
So obviously you are a senior and you have graduated. First off, congratulations on graduating. That is a big deal
Thank
here.
you.
So what college have you committed to, and what about that college, attracted you to commit there and apply in general?
Yeah, that's a great question. And if you couldn't tell, it's right here. I'm committed to MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology down in Boston. It's a great school, great school. And the reason I chose it over okay, for context, I got into some other schools such as like Yale, Georgia Tech, Stanford, right? The reason I chose MIT over those other schools was, I think the biggest factor for me was, I think it's cliche, right? But like location, right? So if you think about it, right? Boston, there's no other town that has that many other colleges in the area. So for example, right? There's obviously MIT, right? But then there's Harvard, there's Northeastern, there's BC, there's BU, there's Tufts, there's all these other great colleges, and this is like, and for my undergraduate, I want to be surrounded and like meeting all these amazing people at these other amazing colleges, right? And that brings me to my second point, right? The people at MIT that I've got to meet so far, they're all amazing people. Like I've never met people that are so driven yet also so smart, and it's just, I want to surround myself with people like that. I'm not saying like people at Yale or Stanford aren't like that, right? But like at MIT, I was just like, these are my people.
Yeah, that was one thing. I interviewed someone else before. They said Boston is a really good place to go for college. And obviously with all the
It
colleges,
is the place.
yeah, with all the colleges you mentioned, because he committed to Harvard. So
Okay.
BU, BC, MIT, Harvard, Tufts, all of those are crazy colleges to get into. Like all of them. And obviously with the roster you just named of colleges you got into, you had a very, let's just say you had a very, very good college season. So obviously
Very, very good. Very
very,
blessed.
very, very good. That's something any kid would dream of, getting to crazy schools like that. Like, dang. But yeah, obviously with all those colleges around, it's a lot better than not like meeting new people too, because you don't want to surround yourself with just like older people and like one campus. In fact, you have multiple different campuses. That definitely is nice. One of my friends, he committed to Boston University here,
Okay.
so he's going there, but no one else I know. Maybe we had one or two like Boston colleges, but I'm not too familiar. But obviously MIT, that's like the best of the best when it comes to technology. Technology is the name, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Like, come on.
That's right.
Yeah, so it is the best in the world, and obviously the best is gonna get the best. So like you said, they're not only driven, but they also have the passion and they have the smarts to back up that passion too. Definitely. So obviously,
Amazing.
yeah. So as one of those students, you obviously have an extensive background in the field of, like I said, education, equity, and technology. So one of those is a Blastoff. You are the co-founder of Blastoff, which is an AI startup offering resources for underrepresented entrepreneurs, which you did say is your end goal, or just in life in general. So obviously, as a startup itself, Blastoff most likely faced the same situations which you are planning on combating and helping other entrepreneurs. So how did you and your team first off get this idea for Blastoff, and how were you able to combat the issues which you are actually striving to reduce?
Great question. That's a great question. So Blastoff started out with me and my friend, my boy. I've known him for 10 years. We went to the same elementary school, same middle school, same high school. We've been boys since like pretty much birth, since the womb, right? And this idea was actually like pretty personal because mom, okay, when she tried opening up her own business, it was a bakery business, right? She had like everything she needed. Like she's obviously very smart, very capable. But what we found out was that there was actually like a ton of paperwork and ton of permits, licenses, all this stuff that just essentially blocked her from achieving her dream because basically English isn't her first language. So you can imagine how hard that is, like, to kind of go through, and especially like back then, like I was very young, and like when she hands me like these documents, I'm like, I don't even know what this word means, right? And I'm like learning English. It's just like,
The immigrant
how can
struggle.
you expect someone like whose language isn't like their first language isn't English to like go through stacks of papers like this big, right?
Definitely. Oh yeah.
So me and my friend realized this is like a fundamental issue, right, within our society as a whole. So these underrepresented entrepreneurs, like immigrants and people of color, they have amazing ideas, right? But the system just doesn't allow them to express these ideas. So we went forth with Blastoff. We both have passions in AI, right? And we realized that while AI can do a ton of bad, right, it can also do a ton of good, and good being Blastoff, right? So how we proceeded with this was we built out an MVP, right? We pitched a lot, and we took it to these competitions, right? And that's where we found our funding, right?
Yes.
30K.
Yes, that 30K is a massive number, and that was obviously going to be my next question, was the funding mostly from those competitions. So how many competitions, like how extensive was it when you came to like going to these competitions and pitching it, and how successful was it in your opinion?
Yeah, so definitely at first we weren't very successful because this was both of our like first times making a startup and actually going to these competitions. But then like as we went through with these competitions and we got that feedback, right? This feedback, it was so valuable. Like the judges, they were honest with us, right? And that's one of the values that I value, right? Right? They were upfront with us and they were like, you need to fix this. Okay, we fixed it. And then second college, you need to fix this. Okay, we go
Exactly.
fix it. You know, we keep doing this. We keep looping, iterating, right? Until we get as close to, I wouldn't say like perfection, but like greatness, right? As close to it as we can possibly get, and then from there we found success. So I would say in terms of number of competitions, so it's definitely like a lot more than 10 maybe.
Okay.
Don't know.
But obviously, with those amounts of competitions you've been to, you did get your funding, which is nice. And also, like you said, honesty is the best policy. Honesty is only supposed to help you build up and not, break you down. And if it's trying to break you down, that's not honesty. That's straight up lying. Why would you say something like that? But definitely, especially with the whole passion and mission behind Blastoff, as an immigrant myself, I have seen these struggles, not with my parents, because my dad, he moved here, like, he's been traveling the world for a very long time before I was born. But like I can see that with my mom too, because she kind of not really struggles anymore. But even with like immigrants, obviously the University of Memphis is very heavy when it comes to immigration, and having a lot of students there that come from countries. I actually had an internship. I started an internship at the University of Memphis recently, and one of the undergraduate students, was a guy from Ghana. Super chill dude, amazing dude. Met him for the first time, but definitely there is a lot of immigrants, and being an immigrant myself, seeing that stuff, and obviously you're an immigrant, you've seen this with your parents, and the mission definitely is worth it, especially for like in the sales business too, because like bakeries and restaurants and all that, they all depend on the English language, and the government, obviously, as we've seen in like recent times, they're going more anti-immigration than pro.
Right.
So what are your thoughts on that, especially with like AI startup and all that had that?
Yeah, so like I saw, right? I'm pretty sure like a lot of us like younger people are more aware with this, like with the federal government blocking Harvard from accepting international students. I think it's definitely like a very big issue that needs to be addressed. I think that international students, they provide like a lot of perspectives and outlook that we can't get like just domestically. And I think there's a reason why like the colleges do take international students. Like these international students, they also just work very hard to get to where they want to go, right? And for the federal government to just block that is like, it's a little bit of a disservice to their hard work, and I feel like that needs to be addressed.
Let me pause this real quick. I need to go get my book. Definitely. So not only are you committed to MIT now, but even before applying for MIT, you have multiple connections with the college, including being a MITES alum. So, what was the work that you did a part of MITES, and what was the experience of just attending MITES in general?
Okay. So, for context, I did my semester, which is their online version. It's 6 months, and basically what it is right. At first, you rank the classes you want. So there's a core class and there's a project class, and the core class you get put into automatically. So I was put into science writing, which is where you publish like or you write a professional caliber paper featuring like an interview with someone that's very knowledgeable in the field that you want to write the article on, right? So for me, that was brain computer interfaces and that intersection with AI because I've been watching some, like Terminator and stuff, like
Yeah,
brain computer interfaces, right? And like I think they're just like a very unique piece of technology that is very revolutionizing if we go into the future, because you can already see them today with some people like let's see, people with like ALS, right? Brain computer interfaces work there, right? So I won't go on a tangent there, but basically there's the core class, and then there's the project class, which I think is the most interesting part of the thing, because I think they have like, I think it was 15 classes that you can rank, and I got put into a class called Mapping Justice, which is a very, very fun class. So what we did in it was we used GIS technology to kind of analyze some sort of data or issue that we found was prevalent. So obviously me, like I think education is very important, right? And that's just been preached by my mom. And like I think as like the whole immigrant culture, we feel that education is a way out. So I wanted to explore that further through income and SAT levels and also like other forms of data, right? And how we did that was we compiled the map and we presented this in a virtual symposium where a bunch of people just gathered. I don't even know where they came from. Like it's all over the US and stuff probably.
yeah.
We presented that and showed our findings, which proved it's a little intuitive, right? But it's just like good to see it visualized, right? That if your income generally is your social economic status, if it's lower, your levels of education is lower, and it's just like you gotta ask yourself sometimes like why, and then like how can we address this, right? And I think that was very
Definitely.
eye-opening. So overall, I would say like my semester was a great experience. Like if I could do it again, I would. Like even if I had like, let's say like I had like other summer programs like lined up, I unfortunately didn't. I applied to some and I got rejected. I was fortunate enough to get into MITES, right? But if I had like that option, right, with other summer programs, I don't think I would have chose them over MITES. I think MITES was just great experience, especially also getting to meet people from all over the US. It was great.
So yeah, MITES is a big, big thing, It's very selective too. So the fact you got in there means a lot too. But when it comes to the research, how were you able to find all these research like points, especially because it's like nationwide, right? So you can't just use one research source and then just like go from there. How did you like entail with this research?
Yeah. So we actually, so it was a team-based project, right? So what we did was we divvied up the work, and I think my boy, he was on the data collection side of it, and I think what he did was that he built like this scraper that like went through all this data. There's a lot of public data on this. If you look it up, I think even College Board posted like average SAT by state or like region, and instead of manually going through all this data ourselves, right? Because that would be very tedious with the amount of data there is. We just had something scrape through all this data, and we were ultimately able to compile it and like present it nice and visually.
The visual aspect too, when you're presenting research, you can't just throw a bunch of words to people because then they're not going to understand it and they're just going to get, they're not going to be the
Exactly.
happiest. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
It's
visually.
best when it's visualized.
Definitely. And Avi, you said it was online, right? Was
Yes.
So it's a semester long. So did you do this like from, I guess like in this case it would be from May to like August. So how long was it like a 6 month period, or how long was this period?
Okay, see, this is a very good question. And so for my semester, so what they do is they have the what we call the STEM immersion phase, which is like the period from like It was like, I think it was either May or June to August, like during summertime. And in that was where we did our project and core class. But then after that, they had actually they had like the rest of the time until December was for college workshops and all that other stuff, like just helping us with interview prep, essay writing, and all that other stuff. So besides just like giving us the opportunity to take those 2 classes with my semester, they also gave us like college prep resources that I think were invaluable.
Definitely, definitely. So basically, you had to, in this case, it'd be like, once you finish the first level, then it's the second level, or were you able to just jump to the second level like that? Or,
But could you clarify what like second level means in this case?
like you said, the summertime, you had the Mike's program, and after that, you had more classes and like workshops, and after that too. So is there a possibility to just go from, like, just to those like workshops and stuff, or do you have to go to the summer program first and then do that?
No, yeah, I definitely. I'm sure like you have to go through the summer program first because it's like
Okay, yeah, that makes
it's like
sense.
it's
Yeah.
like a whole experience, and then like I think if you didn't perform in like the first part, like I'm pretty sure people got kicked out of the program, and then they couldn't get the like access to the college mentors and all that stuff.
Definitely. So obviously you are an alumni of Mites. So did like Mites like have any impact on you applying and or committing to MIT at all?
Definitely, honestly, definitely. My teacher for science writing, she was is an MIT professor right now, and it was just great like having her teach us, and I just realized that like MIT professors are very, very open to helping students. I think what I've heard at some other institutes is like these professors sometimes they're so focused on their own research that they neglect their own class. I didn't really get that vibe from my teacher from science writing. Like obviously it's just one teacher, right? And like one professor, and that might not be representative. But from the stories she was telling us about MIT, it sounded like an amazing place to be. And like I think when I applied and stuff, like obviously I was gonna apply because MIT is a great place for what I want to do. But when I went to, so I actually did this fly-in program. I don't know if you know what fly-in programs are, but basically what they are is that you can apply and the college will fly you out to go visit and learn more about their campus. So I did one with MIT called WISE, and from there I was just like, yeah, MIT is my place, right? And then like the AMIT weekend further back that up. So just like from these 3 experiences, I would say that would lead that decision of committing to MIT. It wasn't just like one like aha moment, right? But it's like ultimately like a combination of all of them.
Definitely. Obviously, you are going to MIT now, so do you plan on taking the same professor? Because I know it's probably the same stuff that she teaches, but do you plan on taking her as a class too, especially with the bond that you felt you had?
Yeah. So I don't think MIT allows us to specifically choose a professor we want to do. I can obviously like email her and be like, yo, what class you teach? I'ma sign you up, you know, it's like but,
Exactly.
if I had that option, I would definitely choose to take a class with her because she's just amazing, right? And like she's so
Yeah,
knowledgeable about her field and like just science writing as a whole. And I would love that. Like I'm pretty sure it would be an elective, and I would definitely take a class like that.
definitely, definitely. And obviously, because you did feel such a strong connection, she probably knows you too, because you did Might, and Might is a very selective. So obviously, she's gonna remember those kids, and especially because y'all did work together for 1 or 2 months, and you did take a class for a while. So definitely, if she has the option too, she would probably choose you and any other fellow Mites. Do you know any other people from Mites that committed to MIT too?
Yeah, there's actually like a whole Instagram page where it's like a bunch of people. I think there's like 5 on that Instagram. There might be more people that from MITES that committed to MIT. Not sure because it's a very big
Yes.
community.
Yes, I mean obviously Mites MIT, so
Yeah,
that definitely makes sense. So along with working for Mites, with the GIS and studying all the education disparities, you also have a passion for your community, doing extensive research on education and housing affordability in your community itself. So obviously you did say with education that comes from, the immigrant mindset of pushing for better success and better studies. But how did you get the interest on studying housing affordability throughout?
Yeah, so that actually occurred to me like as I was driving around the city. So I'm a very big guy of exploring around, right? I love sightseeing and stuff. And when I was driving around Atlanta, right, because it's just like on the way to stuff or like just
Atlanta.
just sightseeing, right? I was looking at the houses and stuff, and it was very interesting because in one part you could have like a very very nice modern looking house, right? And then right next to it you can have like a very very old rundown looking house, right? And
Yes.
it's very interesting because I took AP Human in my freshman year of high school, and we learned about a concept called gentrification, and
Yeah.
getting to see that in person was like eye-opening because it's like
Crazy.
when you learn about it in the classroom, it's like, oh, okay, it just like exists. But then it's like,
The
oh
concept.
no, it actually exists in my area. It's like, dang. And getting to see that and just like knowing people personally that struggle with housing, it's like that compelled me to look into that some more.
Definitely. And obviously, when I talk to like past seniors that have graduated, they have told me the most eye-opening classes they've ever taken, like the classes which like connected them to the real world, and classes that they actually use in their day-to-day lives are obviously personal finance for obvious reasons, and
Hmm.
then AP Human Geography, which is crazy because as a freshman, most people just take the class because it's like that introductory AP class, not
Right.
expecting much from it. But getting to see, gentrification and like the DT's, the demographic transition model and all that stuff, in person, that really shows the impact human geography has on the life and stuff. And obviously, like when I took AP Human, I got a 4 on the exam, and my teacher is actually, I'm super tight with him too. He is also my knowledgeable coach. A very, very smart guy. Like, not only does he know human geography, he knows everything. I'll be so honest. He's smart dude. But, just seeing that in person, especially with the gentrification. So, how were you able to, start doing research? Did you do this by yourself? Did you have a team with you, or did you do it with the college? Or like, how did that work?
Yeah, so I had a team where it was part of this bigger program, and this was our project. And how we underwent this was we actually talked to some people like in the area, like where gentrification was going down, and then we were just like, oh yeah, like how do you think like this affected like your kids' education and stuff, and just having like that personal stuff. But then we also pulled data from like this program. They gave us access to like a database, and we pulled data from that, and we were able to just like show, right, like it's in the database, but like we
Yeah.
want to like visualize it again with the visualizing, right? So we did that. We had the personal elements, and I think when we did ultimately present it to the Atlanta board members, like it did do
It
something.
stuck out. It stuck out like crazy. Yeah, especially who you present to the Atlanta board members. That is your community. That is where they live too. So not only do you feel that connection, they also feel the connection too with it,
Mhm.
right? So
For sure.
yeah. Also, like I'm from Memphis, which is, we face the same problem here too. Like where I live out in the suburbs.
Mhm.
So obviously the houses are nice here. But then as you go more into the inner city, you can see how more run down, and especially because like Atlanta, like St. Louis, Memphis, very, very crime ridden
Right.
areas
It's
too.
like the whole thing with like suburbia, I think it's like because families kind of realize, or not realize, but they just like feel like the city is more dangerous and stuff, and then like they want to go out, but they still want to be like, they don't want to be rural, but they want to be suburban. And then there's
Yes,
this whole problem with like urban sprawl, and then like the whole environment. Like I feel like the like more you look into it, the more these issues are actually like the more you realize these issues are actually so connected, and if you address one of them, you start addressing the others. If you neglect one of them, then the others start going down, right?
definitely, definitely. So did your research on education and like the housing crisis, like did they ever like merge into one singular like research, or did they ever like play off each other or
No, yeah,
anything?
for sure. Like because the people we were interviewing, like they actually were telling us like how like it's just like it's very stunting to their children's growth if they have to like constantly move houses. And also
Definitely.
like it just makes sense intuitively. Like if you're in housing that is more run down, like the government can kind of see that, and like the funding for the area like as a whole would not be amazing, right? And then that means your quality of education is going down, and it's just a whole issue. It's like, and also an equity issue with that.
Definitely, definitely. Obviously, have you ever moved houses before or
I have
anything?
not. I'm very lucky
No.
to have been born and
Yeah,
raised here.
definitely. I've lived in the Memphis area my whole life. But moving houses, I didn't live like in like the inner city of Memphis, but I lived more, it's the small town called Cordova. They call it Cordova, but it's considered a part of Memphis limits. So that's like the real suburbs of Memphis. So I lived there for like most of my life. And then I moved even further out from Cordova to another town called Collierville. So, it definitely is, especially housing and like the impact it has. Because I did go to school in like Midtown Memphis for elementary school, but I feel like I gained more education there than I did like moving out. So some people have different experiences too. And obviously, research can't speak for everyone and their personal experiences too, because it's a general consensus. You know
Right.
what I mean? Yeah. So definitely, and the fact that, because education and housing, they do, build upon each other. The more educated, they say the more educated you are, the bigger house. But that's not always like true.
Not
You can still
necessarily
be
the case.
successful.
It's like a
Yeah,
very lot of issues at hand, a lot of issues.
definitely. Especially today with like gentrification and gerrymandering and all these other terms that in maybe human geography, which definitely impact how life in general is seen throughout, just not even the nation, just like international too. So what, speaking of the education, what specifically, because I know you did research for mites, but in your community, what research did you do for the education system there?
Yeah, so we were looking more so at the dropout and graduation rates. What we found was that generally, right, in these more like, I wouldn't necessarily say like run down, because that sounds a little insulting, but like these like not as well off areas, right? Like the dropout rates are higher, and like obviously like the graduation rates are lower, and it's just like when you drop out of high school and stuff, like where does that lead you, right? And that's a whole issue of its own, because there's also so many different factors that go into someone dropping out. But I think like a big one is definitely like economically like related.
Definitely, which obviously plays into like the housing too. Everything is connected to each other some way or another, and it's great that you were able to do research on both that and that. So how big was your team was it two separate teams with your research project, and if so, how big was each team?
Yeah. So the research project with the education and like the housing and stuff, it was 6 people. I might be blanking, but I think it was 6 people, and we were all from Metro.
So, you are a very intelligent guy, with passion for working, and definitely a community-minded guy. But you're also super duper athletic. You currently serve as the swim coach for 2 teams, for the Special Olympics and the Lil Horns. That's spelled Lil with a apostrophe mark.
Yep.
Yes, which is your middle school swim team. So do you have a background in swimming for your school or anything? And along with that, actually, let's just go with that first. Do you have any background in swimming in general?
Yeah, of course. Like I've been swimming since I was a 5-year-old boy. I wasn't swimming competitively then. Like I was swimming leisurely, but I joined the high school team, and from there I started swimming competitively, and it was a great experience with the whole team and everything. And then from there, right, our coach was like, "Hey, we're looking for people that can coach the middle school team, like the middle school team that feeds into our high school team." And then that was its own thing, and then also for Special Olympics, that was its own thing, right? And then I saw this, I was like, yeah, I'm down, because like I wish that I had a coach like that could push me to actually like try competitive swimming, because back then, right, I had great coaches, but they never kind of like compelled me to go swim competitively, and I think that was a experience that I kind of missed out on when I was little. So I just wanted to serve as a mentor for these middle schoolers and also these special needs swimmers, and just like help them enjoy the process of swimming, because I ultimately do love swimming, and I think it's one of the best sports you can do.
That was gonna be my next question. What do you feel like your connection is with swimming? And I feel like you did answer that. If you want to elaborate on that, go ahead. Be my guest. But
I mean, I think the biggest thing is just definitely like that sense of camaraderie you feel when you're swimming through a hard practice. Like, do you know butterfly?
the butterfly
A Michael
stroke,
Phelps
yes.
stroke. Yeah. So when you walk into practice, right, you usually the board's already set with like the practice, right, like what we're running through, like just like a short warm up and then the main set and then like some technique work, right? When you walk in and you see that there are 10 100s butterfly, like that means 10 times 4 laps, right? So overall like 40 laps of butterfly just awaiting for you, right? Your first instinct is gonna be like, what the heck, right? But then you're like, okay, I have to get through this, right? Or else coach is gonna flip out. And then, but then you have your teammates that are also like thinking the same thing, and it's just like that sense of pain and like you have when you're with other people that are just dying while swimming the butterfly. It's different, and I think it goes for like a lot of team sports. Like the team is the number one.
Definitely, definitely. Isn't there? I'm pretty sure it's not called the frog stroke, is it?
Breaststroke.
Breaststroke, yes, yes. That usually was my go-to. I was never the best swimmer. I wouldn't say I'm too much of an athletic guy. I'm more of an artistic guy.
Okay.
Do I do everything but actually like paint and draw. I can't do that for the life of me. Yeah, but athletics. That went on to my little brother. He's a multi-sport. Like he does multiple sports and he's good at them. Like really good at them too.
Good. That's good.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, he's the younger sibling, so he's like 5 years younger than me, going into seventh grade right now. But he got that, I got this. But being athletic, being active is definitely something that everyone needs in their life, even if it's just like going on a walk or going to the gym or just like actively doing sports like you do with swimming. But not only are you a swimmer, but you also took up the role of coaching not only one swim team but 2 swim teams. So what is that bond that you have with both of your swim teams? Like, is it a different bond? Do you feel like, what is the similarities and differences that you get from both situations?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I feel like with Lil Horns, the middle school team, it was more mentor based because obviously like we were older, right, and they're younger than middle school. They look up to high schoolers, right? So a lot of the stuff we teach them, they would like hold to heart and they'd be like, okay, yeah, I want to be just like you guys, right? But then for Special Olympics, I would say it's more like partner based, because we were serving as like we were just helping them go through labs and everything, and we weren't necessarily like mentoring them, right? Like we were acting as like a buddy there for them to like help them keep going through swimming. But then you realize that there's like similarities. That's just like it just forms a great community, great bond, and it doesn't necessarily matter if you're a mentor or you're a partner. I think the net result is still very similar in that you form great connections.
Definitely. Do you feel like you've created like a super strong bond with either like your swim teammates on your high school team or like the Special Olympics team or like the Little Horns? Do you feel like that bond has increased, and then has that changed your outlook on like life in general in some extent?
Yeah, so I definitely would say like we have like a great bond, and like I wish the best to like all the people I've worked with in these like coaching positions, and then like definitely like outlook on life, right? Like I think it was like very humbling and like eye-opening at the same time, because like humbling at first because you realize that what worked for you might not necessarily work for others, so you have to like change up your approach, and then it's like you gotta be more down to earth and just like you can't always like sometimes like I feel like when something doesn't necessarily work out your way, like it can be like easy to feel like down or like maybe like blame other people, right? But you gotta realize like that won't fly in the coaching position, because you gotta keep your composure and like make sure everything's still flowing, right? So very humbling in that department, and then also just great. I have no words. Like honestly, this is great.
Definitely. Sports is not only doesn't keep you active, but it also creates some very strong bonds. I know my school is a very athletic. When it comes to athletics, they take it very, very seriously. football. Obviously, we are in the South. Football is life. So yeah, definitely bonds that you make and the people that you learn and meet. That's obviously one thing that I wanted to achieve for this podcast. Meet multiple people with different perspectives on life too. And all of that. So definitely, athletics is another way to branch out. But you are a intelligent and smart student. You are a student, you are an athlete, but you also work 3 jobs, and on top of that you're still able to earn an immense amount of awards, like being an ame qualifier, a cyberstar national scholar with honors, obviously the Coca-Cola scholarship, the Amazon scholarship. So how are you able to balance all this like into one?
Great question. I'm glad you asked that. So I'll start with some background. So back in like freshman year and like middle school, like pretty much like all my life before freshman year, I was a very, very lazy and disorganized person. So like I would just be spontaneous with what I did, and I never really had some sort of like game plan. But then like when I started falling behind on deadlines and stuff, I was like, shoot, something gotta change, you feel? And then like I was just like thinking, I was like, what can I do that can help me stay on track? Like, because fundamentally, right, the issue was time management. And I was just like, I gotta work on this. Okay. So time management, right? What I did was I started chunking up my days. I was like, by this point, you should have this done. And like, what really helped was actually like, those agendas they gave us in middle school. Like for me, like our middle school gave us agendas. I never touched that, right? But I looking back, like I should have, because what agendas teach you is they teach you to, number one, you gotta write out all your tasks, things to do, right? Because it's very easy to forget in like a very like fast-paced world we live in, right? And number two, like actually following up and doing it, because like sometimes what would happen to me is I would think and I'd be like, oh shoot, I gotta study for this test. And then I wouldn't actually follow up with that. I would just be like, dang, what am I doing? I'm low-key shelling. And like, so just having that to-do list, agenda, and chunking up my day, I think those two were the biggest game changers. And this was like, it helped me so much. And I don't think I would be as successful as I am now, like without them.
Definitely, because you do like 3 jobs. I could when I had a job, I could really like focus that one job with school. So 3 jobs, being a student athlete at the same time and a student coach, and then with all these extensive awards, that's definitely something commendable. Really, that takes some time and effort, and obviously, we are kids at the end of the day. We have friends, we have lives too. So balancing all of that into one, that's definitely something that I'd be telling like other kids, like younger students too, because like they see my schedule too nowadays. Because like with all of my, I have the podcast, I have FBLA, school, they always ask me how am I able to balance everything. And one of my things in life is just take every shot that you get. Even if you think it's like 1% chance, it's still, you never know. If you get rejected, okay, you get rejected, then you're gonna forget in like 3 days. But you take the shot, you make the shot, it's game from there.
Right.
It's like Kyrie Game 7 2016 NBA Finals type stuff.
That's weird.
Yeah. So obviously, with all of these massive achievements, you have been awarded the Coca-Cola scholarship, and obviously like Amazon as well. Now, with other people, I've been asking like, what's their experience like? Traveling from where they are to Atlanta. But you're in Georgia. You have lived in Georgia your whole life, so obviously it's not like a crazy drive. Is probably what, like 15 to 30 minutes, maybe even less
like
than
an
that.
Hour.
Just then.
That's
yeah, like an hour
crazy
drive.
Atlanta traffic.
Yes, I've heard Atlanta's got the worst traffic other than like LA. Is that true?
Yeah, it's definitely up there. And like if you I don't like if you try driving there, like chances are you'll see like an accident or two like happening right in front of your eyes. It's like, dang.
That's definitely because like LA, NYC, Atlanta, those are like the big like hubs of the US. Atlanta's massive. Personally, when I went to Atlanta as a kid, it's still my favorite place ever. The Coca-Cola Museum, the Georgia Aquarium, Stone Mountain Park. Those were definitely, as a kid, a younger kid, that stuff was fun. It's definitely one of the best experiences of my life. But you didn't have to travel. Yeah, but you didn't have to travel far. It's an hour drive from where you live and reside to Atlanta. So obviously, but even with the Coco Scholarship, we still met multiple different people and made bonds. So how was that experience of being a Coco Scholarship and I guess traveling to Atlanta?
Was unreal, I will say, getting to meet some of the nation's most accomplished people ever. Like, I will say, like, one of the things was like imposter syndrome. I felt that, but like also like a lot of people that you wouldn't expect to be feeling it felt it too. And it's just like how like that's just the question, right? Like imposter syndrome, like how much more accomplished could you get to like ever like not feel it? Because if you think about it, right, apparently Einstein, like freaking Einstein had imposter syndrome, and it's like
Imposter syndrome. That's crazy.
yeah, it was a very crazy experience, but it was also very fun because what it's like when you read these accomplishments, right? Like these people, they don't seem real, right? But then
No,
you meet them,
definitely.
and then they're just chill, they're down to earth, they actually have like hobbies and stuff. It's like dang,
Yeah.
right? And getting to
Yeah,
like
definitely.
getting to actually meet them, it is amazing because you only hear the name and you're like, okay, you get like when you start attaching names to faces and like personalities to faces to names, that's great. And I can say like I've met some like very, very good friends from there.
Definitely. Did you like commute from where you were to Atlanta, or did you like stay with the rest of the group like throughout the weekend,
I
or how did
stayed.
that
They
work?
actually took away my car keys because
Oh,
I don't think they wanted me sneaking out or something.
okay. So, because you obviously are in Georgia, so like I maybe they have the commuting option, but taking a bunch of people like from all across the world and then putting them into like one area, obviously they're gonna want to explore. So I guess I see the
Yeah.
car take the taking the car keys part for sure, but you know. Especially with 150, including yourself, accomplished people in one room, not only do you get scholarship, but you also get added to a crazy, crazy network of people. Like I have heard multiple people say, look, when I interviewed them, Vivek Ramaswamy was a Coke scholar, and there's crazy, crazy stories behind what happened when his name was mentioned throughout the weekend. So,
Wait, what
do
was
you
the
have
name
any
again?
Vivek Ramaswamy?
Hmm.
Yeah, so
It's like it's a great experience, and I think everyone should apply to the scholarship.
definitely, definitely, it's definitely something worth, you know, applying to, and it's money at the end of the day. So, definitely would worth it. But y'all all there for a reason. So even though you did have, like you say, you had imposter syndrome, you still were awarded the scholarship. So why do you believe you were a Coca-Cola scholar?
Honestly, it probably sounds cliche, but passion. Like I feel like they can tell when someone's faking it, and like I think for me, when I think about everything I've done over the course of my high school journey, it was something I enjoyed. It was something that was like either personal to me, like I was working towards a greater goal, or just something I found fun. And it's just like when you're very busy, right? And you're doing things like you can't just do things that are necessarily things you hate, right? Because no matter who you are, you'll eventually burn out, right? Give it some time,
Yeah,
you'll burn out. And when you start when you start seeing the things you do as just like fun and like actual good activities that you want to keep doing, right? Like that's just fun, and it's just like I feel like there's a lot more potential for you to like take on more than in that sense. So I think
definitely.
for me it was like my passion, and then maybe the three part-time jobs, who knows.
Who knows? Like, all of that, obviously, passion, that is one thing that I strive upon. If you're passionate about doing something, it doesn't feel like work anymore. It feels like, you're just doing what you love.
Yeah, and that's something I want to like carry with me into the future, right? Like I know a lot of people say like work a job you love, and it's like actually like you should work a job you love. It's just like, do you have that luxury? And it's just like
Exactly. Some people don't get that luxury, but you can always take a bad situation and make it into a better situation, if you know what I mean. take like me in this podcast, this is a passion of mine. Journalism has always been something, meeting people, talking to people, learning from them. Y'all are basically like mentors to me. Even if you're younger than me, everyone could be a mentor to someone, and you could be a mentee to someone too. So definitely passion plays a big part. But speaking of passion and mentor mentee, to round out this episode, the goal and the mission of Voice for You is to empower the leaders of today and tomorrow. So, what is some advice that you can give to our audience members or any student that is, trying to strive to be successful and, have that passion like you and just get to where they want to be?
My advice is talk to everyone. Honestly, talk to everyone. Like, talk to the people you want to be, talk to the people like in your classroom, like anyone. Because what you'll realize is that every person has their own unique offerings and perspectives that they can bring to you, and like ultimately shape you as a person. Like, I would say for me, right, like since like because I used to be very introverted, right, and then I started going out my shell, like kind of introverted, right, but not as much as I was before, and like talking to people, right, like I would not be where I am today without the help of other people. And I can confidently say that a lot of people, like if not all, that are successful do not get to where they are by themselves. So just talk to people, and honestly have a buddy or two that you can just work on extracurriculars with, that share the same passions as you. That's my advice.
Definitely. That's been a main theme with everyone I've talked to. Networking can take you so far. Like it might seem corny, but networking can take you far. Like, for example, if I didn't network to you, we wouldn't be sitting here talking today.
Exactly.
Networking
What you'll find is that like most people are very open to talking.
Exactly. Like open to talking to, because everybody, like when you meet someone new or a stranger, you DM them, you feel like that they're gonna think you're kind of strange and weird. But in reality, when someone asks you advice, they really do feel like, good, and they feel valued and acknowledged. So definitely networking, having that small group of friends that you can always have, trust in, that is a big part too. But thank you so much, Andrew, for hopping on the podcast today. It does mean a lot to me, and it means a lot to the viewers. And the advice you've given, the amount of work that you've put in to get to where you are today, truly inspiring. And I wish you the best at MIT in the Boston area. I know a lot of Coco scholars are committed to Harvard too, so you'll have them in the Boston area too. And you have mites, your friends from mites, so you obviously have them. But I wish you the best of luck at MIT. And for our viewers, thank you so much for watching till the very end. Remember to follow the Voice for You podcast on Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram. And once again, I'm your host, Jeshwant Vana. Thank you, Andrew, for hopping on the episode today, and we will see you next time.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.